Habitat 67 was built for the 1967 Expo World Fair Montreal, and the building was meant to showcase the future of urban living. Architect Moshe Safdie actually designed this building as part of his master's thesis in the University of McGill a few years prior, and under normal circumstances, no one would ever get a master's thesis actually built, but this is the exception. The complex consists of 354 identical precast concrete boxes, which were fabricated off-site and then put together on-site, sort of like Lego blocks. Every concrete unit weighs roughly 80 to 90 tons and required specialized cranes and precise placement during construction. Each unit was held together with tension cable, which can't be seen now, prior to being covered with concrete and then being sandblasted. It is a tension cable that keeps the unit tied together. Modules were produced in a nearby factory fitted with kitchens, bathrooms, wiring, and plumbing before being set up on site. This is an early example of industrial housing construction. Because of the way they were stacked, nearly every house has its own rooftop garden, which combines suburban qualities with high-rise density. Because the boxes were offset rather than stacked vertically, engineers had to design a reinforced load pass so weight transferred diagonally through the structure. Despite its complexity, Habitat 67 was completed in 2 years, which is an extremely fast timeline for such an experimental building. Although it looked like Habitat 67 was the future of housing, it actually never worked, for many somewhat obvious reasons. Something of this nature required so much more planning when it comes to construction, and it was not something that would be easily funded by investors or even insured by insurers. Modular construction is more common now, but in the 1960s, there was no computer modeling, so precise tolerances were harder to make sure they were right. And transporting mass concrete models to the site was not an easy task. Remember, they are roughly 90 tons each. The success of this building can be seen in its density versus nature. It is the idea that you can have multiple people living in the same space without widespread urban sprawl, and at the same time, still get natural light and being surrounded by nature as much as possible. The most interesting thing about the construction is that every window is facing in the direction following both the light and the view. Almost no two blocks have windows that are facing each other and looking into each other's personal space. It is a very private building in spite of its high density. Habitat 67 serves as a reminder that people were thinking big and outside of the conventional, and that audacious projects were things worth investing in. And even nearly 60 years later, it's still such an incredible building that when you go there now, people are taking pictures. Tourists come to see that building. All in all, Habitat is an absolute success.